369. Damn, you're fine. Suck it to me, baby, one more time. From the window to the wall.
Okay, so here we have a graph-based approach to the natural language processing problem where the nodes are keywords based on certain criteria. Most of the time they're nouns and pronouns, and the edges are what we like to call connector words, which specify like very important things between nodes, like you can see here date, location.
Security guard gon' sweat me now. Cracker drunker than a motherfucker, threaten me now.
So the way that we generate questions is that we look at a node and what it's connected to, and then look at like what the appropriate identifier for that question is. So for example, like if you look at these two nodes, Forrest Gump and this date July 6, 1994, and you see date, and the normal question would be when was Forrest Gump released, and we'd have the answer for that. So based on that, we're just going to generate a bunch of questions based on a bunch of different nodes. So what was when was Forrest Gump? When was Forrest Gump? So none of these are grammatically correct, but they do have the major connections, like like was Forrest Gump based on like what Forrest Gump was directed by. Like we have to work on exactly how we're gonna grammatically correct these, but in general, it's the connections between the graphs are pretty solid.
369.
Okay, so now we're gonna move on to actually being given a question and answer that. Before I do that, I'm just going to say this is the general technique that we're going to use, is that when we're given a question, such as who directed Forrest Gump, so the connector sentence is directed, and we do a string similarity. So we already have our keyword, which is Forrest Gump, so we find the node which has Forrest Gump in it, and we look at all the connections it has and which connector is the most similar to directed, and in this case it's the node for Robert Zemeckis, which was directed by, was closer than any of these other nodes. So from there we can say, high degree of confidence that Robert Zemeckis did actually direct Forrest Gump, and that's what you get. Eventually we want to make this more complicated, but in the question answering section where you traverse multiple nodes, generate more complex questions or get more complex answers. But for now it just does a one-level traversal. Maybe in the future it'll do multi-level.